Okay, g'day guys, and welcome back to Kieran's Training. So today we're going to have a look at a very important piece of equipment that you're going to use quite often when you're doing rigging, particularly if you're going to be doing a lot of structural steel work, all right? And that piece of equipment's obviously going to be a boom lift. Now, there's many different types of boom lifts. Today we're going to go over a Skyjack, all right, but also something along the lines of a JLG, are very common in industry as well. All right, so we'll start off by doing a pre-start. So with a pre-start, we've got to go around and we make sure everything's in a good working condition prior to starting it up. So the first thing we want to check is got the logbook in it. So when you go down to the basket, all right, in your basket here, you'll find your logbook. Should be in a typical little yellow pouch, right? And we've got our logbook in here. So we have a look in the logbook, all right, and we are going to make sure that everything's filled out and everything's in a good working order. All right, so we'll pop that back in there. Okay, now we've got the logbook. So what we'll do, we'll start with the basket and then we'll work our way around the machine. Okay, so when we're looking at the basket, if we start at the top, we can work our way down. So we can look at our controls. We're going to make sure that all our controls are nice, clearly legible and easy to read. The last thing you want to be doing is pushing and pulling buttons, trying to figure out what each one does as you go along. So make sure all of them are nice, easy and legible, and it'll just make your life a lot easier. All right. So with the controls, we've got a crush bar here as well. We can go to our handrails, make sure all of our handrails are in good working order. Okay. As we go down, we've got our anchor points. Now, pretty important they are all in good working order. If that's what you're hooked onto to save your life, you want to make sure that they are in a good working order. All right. All these decals must be legible, so you've got to make sure they're all in good condition. All right. You'll also see, tells you how much total load can be put in it. So you can have 2 people plus tools up to a total of 227 kilos. The maximum side force on it is 400 newtons, and the maximum wind speed is 12.5 meters per second. If you have a fire extinguisher, all right, make sure that it is tagged with a current date. All right, so fire extinguishers must be within 6 months. All right. Also, we want to check down in the basket itself. We want to make sure the ground is clear of tools, because the last thing that you need to have is loose tools running around the basket. Problem with that is they can end up causing you to trip. They could fall out on top of somebody, or they could be jamming your dead man on your foot. So you've got your dead man here, and if that gets jammed up, nothing's going to be able to work. All right. So while we're at the basket, all right, we'll wander around here. We'll check our gate. All right. Now, the gate should be self-closing and self-latching. So as it closes, it should latch itself up there. All right. So from there, we'll start working our way around the machine. Okay. So any pivot points, you make sure they're all in good order. Any hoses, look for any signs of any leak, any cracking in the hoses. All right. As you come up, all these connections here, make sure all your connections are in good order. Underneath here, make sure you've got good solid connections on all your electricals as well. All right, now we can go along the boom here. All right, checking for any cracks, any flaking paint, check for any bends or twists, anything out of the ordinary. All right, we've got a cylinder in here, so look for any signs of wear or any leaks in the cylinder. Check your pivot points here again. All right, as you come along, all right, check all your bolts. If you've got any retaining pins, make sure they're in a secure order. Coming along, checking the cylinders here, checking down along all the boom sections. Make sure all your boom sections are in a good working order. All right, wheels and tyres. All right, so make sure all your nuts on the tyres are all in nice and tight. Make sure you've got plenty of tread on your tyres. You've got more decals there. All right. As you come along the body, keep checking everything along here. All right. More decals telling you your power line distances here in Victoria. Your ground controls all need to be in good condition. Okay, you can see your hour meter there as well. All right. While we're here, we'll open this up. Okay, so while we've got this open, all right, check our fuel level. So we've got about 2/3 of a tank in here. All right, check all your connections, check all your wiring. All right, make sure everything's in a good working order. Check your hydraulic oil. So you'll see this is a bit low, but if we go back to the basket, we can see that cylinder is extended a little bit, so that's going to be sucking up some of that hydraulic oil. All right. Now, you also have your emergency descents here as well. So they can be a little bit complicated. Each machine is going to be different, and make sure you have a thorough understanding of them before you start pulling and pushing levers and twisting knobs. All right, so whatever machine you're in, make sure you have a good understanding, read the operator's manual so you know exactly how to get that basket down if you do have a failure. Okay, close this up. All right, we'll keep coming around. All right, wheels and tyres again. All right, you can check your steering components, make sure everything's in a good condition there. All right, around the back here, we have our data plate. So it gives you all the information, gives you this registration and serial number of the crane, maximum capacity, wind speed, side force, okay, the weight, the dead load of the machine, which is 6.4 tonne. You can drive at 14.2 metres. Okay, you got the system pressure. It tells you your incline, which is pretty important to know. So on this one, it's 5 degrees, whether it's side slope or a gradient. So very important to know the maximum side slope you can operate in. All right, so we'll keep walking around. All your steering components again, more tyres and wheels to check. As we come around, all right, we'll pop over the next one. Okay, so while we're here, we can check our oil. All right, look for any signs of any oil leaks in the motor. All right, we can check our battery, make sure that's nice and secure. All right, while I'm here, I'm just going to flick this isolator on so that I've got power when we need to do the startup checks. All right. Now, if it was a water-cooled machine, you'd make sure you check all your coolants, etc. as well. All right, we'll bring this one down. Okay, now, on a lot of these machines, you'll have an exposed slew ring. So this one's enclosed, so you can't actually see your slew ring, but if you've got an exposed slew ring, you can check that and make sure it's all well greased, etc. Okay, keep coming around. All right, we've got more tyres and wheels. We're going to check on them. Okay, in here you can see our fuse. Make sure our fuse hasn't been tripped along the way. Okay, you've also got a locking pin here for when in travel. So make sure that's not down. Otherwise, you'll have a few difficulties trying to slew on the machine. Okay, checking all your boom again down along this side. Right, check all your cables in your extension. All right, make sure they don't get caught up or anything. Check all your lines, check for any oil leaks across your lines. More pivot points to check. Okay, check down here, and we're back to the basket. So when you're walking around, you go around and you give a thorough check and make sure that everything is in a good working order. If something's not right, what you'll need to do is make sure you tag the machine out, enter it into the logbook, and let your supervisor know so that it can be fixed. Okay, so that's just a quick walk around check of the boom lift. In the next video, I'll go through the startup checks and how to operate the boom lift. All right. So if you want to keep updated, don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And as soon as a new video comes out, you'll be notified. All right, so thanks for your time.